Here we go.
It's time for TSS Fantasy.
Who day, and I am just excited.
I'm excited to sit here. Y'all can't see all my Saints fans.
He showed with a Hall of Fame quarterback that he can get back to when he was a number 4 overall pick.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. It is Commissioner Cooper, and it's time for TSS Fantasy.
Yeah.
By the way, Justin, I did talk to Freddie. He's actually going to be on live next week, so we're going to get that drop taken care of next week. So just so we're clear. All right, guys, we got a great show tonight. We're going Packers and Bears. So let's get things started tonight. We'll do the intros first. Let's do the co-hosts first because they're quick and easy. First to my left here, it's Andrew, Mr. Sophistication himself. LeDuc, welcome into the studio, sir.
As always, feeling classy, feeling fine. And if you've been on with my TikTok journey with those damn 4 sports teams, day 25, this is getting ridiculous. The filters hate me on TikTok. Stick with me. We're going to do it eventually.
All right, stick and stay with LeDuc. Let's go with Justin Jesus Herrera. Welcome into the studio, sir.
It's okay, LeDuc. They would never guess the 4 teams that I root for either. Everybody's got to have that one pity team that you kind of go, oh, geez, you're really a fan of that team? Yeah, Sacramento Kings. I'm really a fan of Sacramento Kings. But anyways, as far as commish goes, I'm going to make this real quick. Fred's been telling me he's going to be on forever now. I think Fred's on like forever Puerto Rican time because he is forever 15 minutes late. His life is like 15 minutes late at this point. But get well, Fred, because I heard about your accident.
You ain't wrong. You ain't wrong. Yes, our thoughts and prayers, of course, with Freddie, but he don't need no prayers. Let's go to our first guest representing the Green Bay Packers. It's Wendell. Welcome into the studio, my friend.
Hey guys, how are you doing? It's always cool to talk about the Packers, talking some fantasy football. Even though I'm a big dynasty fan, not a big redraft fan. Let's talk some Packers and let's go.
Oh, we love it. We mix it in, so we're good either way. We like the dynasty aspect. We love the redraft aspect. So please bring it. I love it. Let's welcome in longtime contributor to this show. Now he's Mr. Hollywood of Barstool Sports. It's Mikey Betts. Welcome into the studio, sir.
What's up, guys? I'm glad to be back. I'm glad to see Justin. Glad to see Commissioner Andrew. Glad to see you for the first time. Not so glad to see Wendell, but that's okay. Go Bears, and we'll figure it out.
Let me show you how Hollywood Mikey is. We didn't even start, and we got shit in here. Mikey Betts, boys, rise up. Another one. Jacob Boyko saw that Mikey Betts was going to be here, so I had to slide, but excited for the show as well. Bear down. All right. Alex and Jacob, thank you guys so much. We appreciate you. Before we get started tonight, we'll play the Bills real quick. Don't forget, if you're watching on YouTube, do us a solid, hit subscribe, give us a like, notification bell, all that good stuff. Throw your comments in like our boys did just then. Little things stopping you from doing it. Big things popping for us when you do. So we appreciate you. Also, don't forget, if you're looking for some championship bling, look no further than Pro-Am Belts. They got everything you can want and need for your fantasy champion. Lots of great stuff there. Also, Ultra GM. Look out for them as well. We're going to have that promo code up soon, so I don't want to talk about them too much. And then, of course, Fast Draft app. Make sure you use the promo code TSS. Got a lot of great stuff going on. Justin, they still doing that one thing that they were doing before? I'm sorry, I haven't been keeping up.
It's not Fast Draft Friday, but guys, go type in TSS Fantasy. I'm sorry, just TSS, and you get up to $50 matched. It's a great site. It has some cool, innovative stuff. They give you a whole rostership breakdown while you're drafting, so you don't have to wait till you post-draft to be like, oh, I've been getting heavy on Matthew Golden. They'll tell you what you've been doing in the past, and they will also give you a stack warning. So if you're in that stack category, it gives you stack percentages. So if you're doing Caleb Williams and DJ Moore, it says, hey, man, you've been doing this a lot. You've been doing 50% of your drafts with Caleb Williams, DJ Moore. Maybe that's something you like. Maybe you want to change it up, but they give you the information regardless. Go type in TSS and get your $50 match today, man.
This is why Justin gets paid the big bucks. He does the homework. He is on it. All right. Well, pack it up, pack it in. Let us begin.
I was going to say, take note, Dave Portnoy. Take note. I'm ready. I'm available, my friend.
Love that. Love that.
I'm
Get
sure
the name right.
I'm sure he's not watching.
Yeah, definitely.
Anyway.
Next time I would say get the name right, but hey, I'm not going to say that. Portnoy.
All right. All right. Let's get started. We got free agency to talk about. We got the draft to talk about. So sit back, relax, and let's get on the summer rewind. All right, real quick, Blake, what's up with you, my brother? Thanks for commenting in there. We appreciate you for joining us. All right, let's get started tonight. Let's go ahead and let's go with Packers first, since Mikey's been on our show so damn much. He can wait a little bit. No, I'm just kidding. Let's talk about those Packers and talk about some of the losses and additions when we go into the free agency. So, Wendell, I'll just go to you first, my friend. Give me a grade for the free agency period for the Packers. Tell me, expand on it. Tell me about the guys you like and didn't like.
Yeah, I think it's probably B- for the Packers. As always, it's natural for them. It's not an active offseason like the Bears, the offseason dynasty. But I think the Packers made some solid moves on defense with Nate Hobbs. I think Nate Hobbs was a good addition because last year the Packers, they've used it to not have Jair Alexander to a certain degree. And so they're not exactly replacing Jair Alexander. They are replacing Eric Stokes. So I think signing Nate Hobbs to replace Stokes is a good option. And on offense, they signed left guard Aaron Banks from the 49ers. I think he's a good player, a fine starter. I think the Packers probably overpaid a little bit. It's $17 million a year. That's a lot of money for a left tackle that's probably not an elite left guard. Sorry. So I think the Packers, in terms of free agency, it's what they do. They sign a guy here or there. I think last year they made bigger moves with Josh Jacobs and Xavier McKinney. This year it was more like rounding out the roster. And as always, the Packers try to be more active through the draft and reinforce the roster through the draft. And in free agency, it was just that. It was Banks, Hobbs, and then a minimum signing for Mecole Hardman, which in terms of fantasy, not much to talk about because Hardman will probably be mostly a special teamer for the Packers.
Yeah, I was a little sad to see A.J. Dillon go because it just felt like he was that Packers guy. But, he really wasn't doing shit, quite frankly. So
yeah, I think in terms of running backs, I think it was more or less expected that Dillon would go. But I think it tells a lot about how the Packers trust Marshawn White because I think they see him as a probably the running back two behind Jacobs for the foreseeable future. And I think they have complementary skill sets. So I think it makes sense for the Packers to bet on White because he had a kind of a nightmare rookie season with injuries. But I think now he's fully healthy. And I think it makes sense for the Packers to bet on him.
Love that take, Wendell. Absolutely. Real quick, Jacob. Fuck no, we're not talking about no Chicago Bulls after this. This ain't no Bears show, bro. Or Chicago show, my bad. Jacob also said, is Amos still on the Packers with a bunch of question marks on there? So. And Daniel Berry Sports Highlights. Happy Monday, everyone. Happy Monday to you. Thank you guys for your comments. We appreciate you. Mr. Wonderful Mikey Betts, my friend, everybody's obviously salivating over this Bear stuff. So you tell me, give me a grade for that free agency period and talk about the guys you like or didn't like.
I mean, what do you give back-to-back champions of the offseason? You give them an A grade. That's what we get every offseason. We get an A, and then we play the season, and then it's an F. I did like, last year I was all hyped up. Caleb Williams, Keenan Allen. We got a bunch of new pieces, new weapons. I can't fucking wait. And then my hopes get, I fuck up every year, dude. Every year I buy into this team, and I kill myself every single time. So I told myself I'm not going to be that excited, but I am through the roof. Okay, I'm through the roof. We got our offensive line all the way revamped, and I hope so. I hope that chemistry isn't a big problem. That's my biggest concern is you got 3 guys from 3 different teams, and then you got a couple new guys. One guy, Darnell Wright, is the only guy that's coming back. And then you have a rookie who's probably going to play left tackle. So technically none of these guys know each other really. None of these guys ever played a snap together, and we're not going to see how they are until we see them on the field for their first time. Swift hasn't been the best, but he also hasn't been the worst. That's been my problem with everybody is everyone was talking shit about Swift. He still was productive for us, and he still got a shitload of touchdowns for us, probably the most touchdowns for the Bears. So as underwhelming as Swift has been, I still don't feel like he was the worst. I don't think he had the worst season for the Bears. That's obviously our cornerback who is terrible. I mean, he's not terrible. I think he just had a rough season. Stevenson, right? That's his name, something like that. He was a bum last year. He screwed us, but I'm excited. I like that we got the interior. We fixed up the defense a little bit with our linebacker. I can't even say his name. Aman Ogbongbigame. Can't even do it.
Ode Ingbo.
Here's my rule about players that I can't get their name. Unless you're good, I'm not going to figure it out. That's why you learned Giannis Antetokounmpo right away. He was good. So that's my rule. Otherwise, we didn't really get rid of a lot. We got rid of offensive line that kind of stunk. We got rid of Coleman Shelton, trash. And then Tevin Jenkins, who is kind of like a Jar Alexander kind of guy, is like, he's great when he's there, but usually he's not there, so it doesn't really matter. So getting him off the team is kind of a wash anyways. So I think we did a really good job for the offseason. Trying not to get hyped up. Still think we'll win 12 games, but, that's just me. Every year.
I love your take on Swift, by the way, because I was kind of in that boat as well. Like, Swift, but I was, preparing for the show. 19th fantasy running back last year. That's not too damn shabby, I'd say. So, I love the take on
a 5-win.
Right.
Like they only won 5 games, and he was still 19th in production for running backs. So can't really complain.
Exactly. Your boy Jacob says Kmet needs to be a top 4 tight end. Although I'll just say, I know I can see the look on Wendell's face. We're all kind of hoping that Loveland is the guy that steps up in that offense. We're all a little bit excited about that. But we'll see. I mean, there'll be opportunity, that's for sure. And obviously with Keenan Allen departing as well, I've heard some rumors that America's team, the Miami Dolphins, might be looking at him now that we traded Jonnu. We need somebody for that red zone. So I hope maybe that's what we're talking about. Oh, look at this. I love this one. Mikey Betts is honestly so cute.
I mean, yeah. I paid that guy $20 to say that. So that worked out. I'm glad it got on.
Pinch those.
We found Justin's burner account.
Yeah, probably.
Every time I did get the Venmo in, so we're good, Mikey. Don't worry.
All right, yeah, appreciate you always.
All right, Wendell, let's hit the draft. You talked about how the Packers traditionally that's where they build. So let's talk about that draft. Give me the grade for it, and give me the guys you're most excited to see out in the field, and what you think.
Yeah, I think overall it was a great draft. I think the only pick that I probably didn't like that much was Anthony Belton, the second round, because was probably some sort of rich, but for the most part, I think the Packers did a good job. Matthew Golden is I didn't expect the Packers to take Golden because he's the type of player that you watch the film, you like, and then you think, yeah, the Packers are probably not going to take this type of guy. And I thought the same thing about Jaden Reed, actually, 2 years ago, because the Packers like those big guys, those athletic players, and Golden is athletic, but he's not exactly a big-bodied receiver. So that surprised me a little bit when the Packers had those options on the board. I think maybe the receiver the Bears got, Burton, I think was more likely for the Packers to take him. But Golden is a great receiver. I think he has strong hands. That's something that Brian Gutekunst said after the draft. We needed strong receivers with stronger hands, and he's that type of guy. My question now for the Packers for this season is how they'll play Golden and Reed at the same time. Because last year, Reed played barely 50% of the snaps because he doesn't block. So when the Packers go to 21 or 12 personnel, Reed generally goes off the field. Now, Golden is that shorter receiver too. Even though he's not a slot receiver, I think he'll be more of a Z receiver for the Packers. I'm curious to see how the Packers will use all of them at the same time. In the third round, they took Savion Williams, another wide receiver, but I think he's more of a gadget player. You guys probably remember Ty Montgomery. I think the Packers will use him, Savion, more like they used the rookie Ty Montgomery in 2015, because at that time, the Packers, in the preseason, they tried to develop Montgomery as a real receiver, running routes and lining outside even. And in the regular season, then they moved him to a gadget role. And I think that'll be the approach with Williams. He'll be more of that gadget player, wide receiver 4 or 5 for the Packers this year. And then maybe he'll develop into something more, because a lot of the Packers receivers now are entering contract year or second to last year on their rookie deals. Watson and Dobbs are in contract year now, so I think it makes sense for the Packers to jump ahead and try to develop some other guys to replace Watson and Dobbs if necessary. And let's see what happens. But I think Golden was an excellent pick, and I think I like the philosophy of investing in the offense, because for so many years the Packers have invested so much of their resources in the defense, and I think it makes sense now. I don't expect Jordan Love to reach the level that Aaron Rodgers had at his prime, so I think it makes sense to put more resources around him to build a strong offense.
Yeah, and a really big play guy. He's proven that in college. And, quite frankly, we don't know when Christian Watson is going to be fully healthy. We've heard rumors could be 4 or 5 weeks into the season. But it takes time for them to get back to the speed of the game. So who knows how long we'll be without a fully healthy Christian Watson. So I think that was a great pick for them as well. Mikey Betts. All right, my friend, give me the grade for the Bears draft and some guys you like and don't like.
Yeah, I just want to say shout out Wendell. He's doing a very nice, articulate breakdown of the draft. Mine's not going to be like that at all. I'm just going to go player by player and say how I feel about them. So Colston Loveland, tight end. I don't know why we drafted a tight end at that number. I thought we were going to try to get an edge, a linebacker, something to help the defense. We didn't do that. If Ben Johnson wasn't our coach, F. But since Ben Johnson is our coach, A+. And then we'll go with Luther Burden. By the way, all of our draft picks sound like 90s R&B singers. Luther Burden, Ozzy Trapillo, Za Frazier. These all sound like 90s R&B singers. So I love that. I'm already going to give him an A for that. Luther Burden, he's a great wide receiver. He played great. He's known for big hands and catching while there's pressure on him. So that's great. I'm excited to see what that's about. And then when you line him up with our other guys that we have, I'm blanking out on chat. Help me out with Roma Dunze and then DJ Moore. Keenan Allen's gone. So that will help fill the spot. You're getting younger. And what I liked about Keenan Allen last year is he coached the rookies up like Roma Dunze. So even though he left, he's still leaving a part of him there and leaving all the knowledge to help these young guys. So I think that's great. And then we had 3 picks in the second round, which I really liked. We ended up going with Ozzy Trapillo, an offensive tackle from Boston College. I like the connection with Ryan Poles and the general manager. His dad played Ryan Poles played with Ozzy Trapillo's dad. So I like that connection. I like that his percentage grade was very high. He was like a top 5 offensive tackle, and we still were able to get him in the second round. And we'll see how he does. Hopefully he pans out. If not, what I like about the Bears this year is that we have enough depth in the offensive line that I'm not really too worried about it. We already have a starting offensive line, and now we have competition for that starting left tackle, which is great. Then I'm going to go Shamar Turner, defensive tackle, just to add extra beef, extra depth. We signed a bunch of free agents for defense, which is great, and it's a great pickup. But it's also nice to have that depth because guess what? They're not going to play every fucking down. So you're going to need the guys, the rookies that are willing to go 150% and play balls out. And when you look at a player like Shamar Turner, that's exactly what he is on the field. So I really like that. 3 second-round picks, that was great. Then we got a 4th-round pick, a linebacker, Hippolyte, funny name, once again, 90s singer. But I just like that name. I think if you get sacked by Hippolyte, you're kind of – I can't wait for that. Sacked by Hippolyte. Can't wait for that. Cornerback, Zoff Frazier, just adding to the depth. Hopefully he pans out. That would be great. And then we can go to round 6 and 7. We got a running back in the 7th round who I want to talk about. He's from Rutgers. Everybody knows that when you get players from Rutgers, there is no college that has you more NFL ready than Greg Schiano getting these guys ready. Greg Schiano works these motherfuckers out that when they get to the NFL, it's like, oh, that's it. So I do like that. Even though it's a 7th-round pick, you're going to hear me hype that up. That's crazy. That's how delusional I am. Look out for Kyle Monange. And then in the round 6, I skipped it. But round 6, we got a guard from Michigan State, which is just adding depth to the offensive line, which I'm very excited about.
Nice. Oh, it was a great breakdown too, Mikey. Don't sell yourself short. Great job.
Right,
Great job on both of you. I love it.
All right, we're going to take expectations and sell out.
And then you build them up. I like it. All right, I'm taking notes. All right, we're going to take a quick break, and we're brought to you by the Injury List podcast. Our boy Brian is going to come in and talk about a couple Packer players and their percentage to hit the bench. I apologize too this week. Had a little bit of technical difficulties. I had some wiring issues, which are finally fixed. But you'll see that obviously when I play this. So, all right, let's hear from Brian, his percent to the bench for the Green Bay Packers. The percent to the bench gets cheesy tonight with the Green Bay Packers. Brian Scott from the Injury List podcast. What we got tonight for the percent to the bench for the Packers.
What up? We started out with Christian Watson. You guys might remember that name. He's been on the injured list multiple times over the last few seasons, and it culminated in a torn right ACL in Week 18. That was like January versus the Bears. He underwent season-ending surgery, was placed on IR. Head coach LaFleur says that he's ahead of schedule, whatever that means coming from the coach. Likelihood is he's going to start on PUP. I don't expect to see him till at least probably a quarter of the way into the season at the earliest. That's my best guess. Let's not forget, he's older. He's had a lot of hamstring injuries and other issues that could prolong his recovery here. I don't think we're going to see him at all in camp for sure. We're looking at a mid-season to quarter of the season comeback. 25% chance to the bench, and that's being very generous. I could have gone a lot higher. Next up, we got Marshawn Lloyd, a running back. You know, his rookie year was derailed by multiple injuries. He had a hip injury in camp, then dealt with a hamstring injury in the preseason opener, ankle injury during the regular season. To top it all off, he ended up having appendicitis, spent time on IR due to non-football illness. And as of mid-June this year, though, it sounds like he's healthy, fully back to 100%, and back with the first-string offense at minicamp. So we expect that he'll be good to go. I give him a percent bench to the bench of 15%. And rounding it up with Jordan Love at the quarterback position, he endured a knee injury, an MCL sprain in week 1 last year, missed 2 games, dealt with an elbow issue later in the season, but was still practicing, was full ready for the playoffs. LaFleur said Love isn't using any of those past injuries as an excuse, and has been working diligently in the offseason to get healthy. It sounds like he will. I give him a 5% chance to the bench.
All right. Go ahead. Sorry. Sounds good. We'll see you on the next one. Sorry about that. All right. So you can tell I'm having some issues on that take. So sorry. My apologies. But a pretty decent grade for some of the players there. Obviously, he's taking Christian Watson into account, already dealing with a lot of injuries as it is. So, all right, guys. Well, we talked about what was. Let's talk about what is. Let's get into some season predictions.
This baby hits 88 miles per hour. You're going to see some serious shit.
We're going to see some serious shit indeed. Let's go. We're going to go to Mikey Betts first on this one. And let's straight up go with the QB position. Caleb Williams last year, as far as fantasy goes, finished 16th overall, as far as quarterbacks are concerned. So, what do you think about this season, Mikey? Do you think he has a repeat performance? Does he go lower, or is he exceeding expectations this year?
Well, what I'll say is, if he's worse than what he was last year, then we're going to have a problem, because we just upgraded the offensive line, and I can give him the pass for having that offensive line. I can give him the pass because let me ask you guys this: can you guys name one offensive lineman that was on the Chicago Bears last year?
Nope.
No, but it's hard for me to name my team. So
Larry Borum.
He will
Larry
not.
Borum was left tackle
for your safety. It is bad day for the Dolphins. Bad year. I don't know what to say about the Dolphins, but Caleb Williams, he's got. It's. I hate to say this, your second year in the NFL, and I hate that we're in this era of time where everything is instant gratification, and if he's not good in 3 years, let's just toss him to the sideline. That's what I am jealous about, like the Packers doing. They stick with their quarterbacks, they grow them, and even though Jordan Love stinks, they're still going to grow him and make sure that he's trying to be the best that he can be. They're going to give him so many chances. I actually hope the Packers give him 35 chances, and I hope he stinks. But that being said, the Bears need to make sure that he is developing well in the second year. So all I can really ask for this year is development, be better than you were last year, and see where we go. I'm not looking to win the Super Bowl. I'm fingers crossed for playoffs. And if not, as long as Caleb does good and the team around them shows some growth, then I could be happy.
All right, LeDuc, his current ADP is 12th. So I think the ADP is kind of agreeing with Mikey, doing a little better than he did last season. Do you think that's accurate? Should be higher or lower, or right where he needs to be?
I think the ADP should be a little bit lower. And I said this last week or the week before, whatever it was, that I like Caleb Williams to stay where he is, or even maybe take a very slight step back. I know he's got a better offensive line now. That was a big problem for last year, but one of his strengths is getting stuff done on the run, kind of making things happen on the fly and getting creative there. The best thing he does have going for him out of last year is only 6 interceptions. Holding on to that ball and protecting it is going to go a long way for this Bears offense as they kind of transition here. But I do think that he needs a little bit more help. I think DJ Moore, we just know what he is at this point, and I think if Caleb Williams struggles out the gate to kind of get rolling and not to DJ Moore's liking as far as his pace to get there, I think we're going to see some rebellion, and I'm not sure there's enough fallback behind DJ Moore at this point that makes me feel comfortable taking Williams at 12. It's a high risk, potential high reward. I don't like to play that type of game with my quarterbacks.
I just want to say real quick, I disagree with everything that he said, and I don't like Andrew anymore. All right, that's it.
Fine. That's fine. Most people don't like me. It's all good.
All right, so
it's
it's ironic that Mikey said that Jordan Love stinks, because so Caleb Williams finished 16th. Well, Jordan Love finished 17th. So I don't know what you're saying over there, but go ahead, Mr. Wendell. Tell him what we think about his draft status this season. Is he going to be higher, lower? Should we expect the same kind of result this year?
Yeah, I think last year was kind of a nightmare season for Love in terms of he got injured in week 1 here in Brazil, and then he kind of battled through injury throughout the entire season, right? So, and I think it affected him in multiple ways, especially for fantasy purposes, because we know for quarterbacks how much running is important and impactful. And he was barely running, barely scrambling. It was everything from the pocket. And I think for fantasy purposes, when a quarterback can run, he has to rely too much on touchdowns. And it's hard to compensate for that. So I think for this year, considering that he will stay healthy, I think what he had in terms of production last year is kind of a floor for him. If he stays healthy, I'm pretty sure that he'll be around the top 10 quarterbacks. But for example, my league that I play in Dynasty, we kind of import the numbers. We have a salary cap league, and we import the numbers from over the cap through a system for our league. So if we play a salary cap league with real numbers, that's a questionable spot for Jordan Love, because he makes a lot of money and he doesn't run a lot. So I think for quarterbacks, it's hurtful. But if you play a normal league, I think it makes sense to bet on Love, especially at this price.
Yeah, no, I like that. Justin, agree, disagree? What do you think? Where do you think Jordan Love's 80? Well, his current, I don't think anyone said that. His current ADP is 17th right now. Oh, the same as last year, ironically enough, how he finished. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's perfect for him. I mean, I think that with Jordan Love, your biggest issue is that he's a wild boy, just like Brett Favre was. He throws a lot of picks. And, unfortunately, he doesn't really have anybody who's like a ball dominant receiver right now. So when he throws these just wild passes up in the air, he's not going to have DeAndre Hopkins to go snag that out of the air. He has to rely on Matthew Golden's short ass, or he has to rely on Jaden Reed or Tucker Kraft. Guys that really at this point are not really established, go out and get it type of guys. So I think for Jordan Love, and it's going to be more of an offensive philosophy, I think they need to get more into the check down, take what you can get type of mode. And until then, he's going to be where he's going to be, and that's going to be the bottom 15 of quarterbacks for fantasy.
Real quick, Mitch Mouse 84. He said Jordan Love does stink. Thank you very much for your comment and checking in with us tonight, Mitch. And then Alex said Jordan Love is just the NFC North Dak Prescott.
Is that supposed to be bad?
Yes,
really?
That is supposed to be bad.
Yeah, that's a really good quarterback. Come on.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. That's not too shabby. I don't know. Dak's not too bad. All right. Oh, and by the way, Window, you're in Brazil. That's where you're coming from. You're that's
10:30.
That's crazy ironic because Brazilian's one of my top searches on Pornhub, believe it or not. All right, let's go next to Mikey Betts. Or no, Mikey Betts. Let's go back to you. Let's talk about the running back. And he brought up Swift earlier. He last year, like I said, he finished 19th overall. Currently, right now, they got him ranked 22nd. So right around the same type of production. What do you think? You think he's about the same this season?
No, I honestly think that he's going to he listens to the news. Like, he listens to what people are saying about him and talking shit. And like I said, I'll keep saying it because I was a fat boy growing up. I was an offensive line. We didn't get enough respect. When you have a good offensive line, it's going to open holes for your running backs. So I think that if he was able to be 19th last year and whatever he was at and still produce the numbers with that offensive line, let's see what he does with this offensive line. I'm hopeful for Swift this year.
No,
we don't really
I like
have anybody behind him.
Mitch says he goes to Bears offense, starts to use him right instead of the running behind the tackles. So, which makes a lot of sense. Make some holes for him and let him fly. I like that. LeDuc, what do you think? Current ADP, right around the same, or should he be higher or lower? What do you think?
No, Swift scares me. I need Swift to get involved in the passing game to really hit his value for me. So that's other than that, this is going to be the Caleb Williams show if they can get anything going on offense. And DeAndre Swift is just he's got to be lower for me.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are always nervous about Swift. He's always had that injury risk, I guess, around him, but he always has big playability. So he's one of those big risk, a lot of reward player if he hits right. So I like what Mikey's saying. If that line is improved this season, start making holes for him, you could see a big jump, him surpassing that current ADP. I do like that. All right, Mr. Wendell. Josh Jacobs, we finished 5th last year. Current ADP has got him ranked 7th. Great season for Josh Jacobs last season. What do you think? About the same expectations? Is he lower? Does he go the number 1 RB? Can't go much higher than 5th. What do you think?
Oh, I think he had an amazing season, but I think in terms of volume, it was a special season because first Love was hurt. They had those Malik Willis game where the Packers basically run all those 2 games against the Colts and Titans. So I think for the most part, it's possible that the volume will be lower. Last year, the Packers ran more than threw for the first time since 2003. So you can imagine how an outlier of a season that was for the Packers. So in terms of volume, I would expect Jacobs probably to regress a little bit, but I think he can be better in terms of efficiency because Aaron Jones was more efficient than Jacobs was last year for the Packers. Aaron Jones had been for many years one of the most efficient running backs in football. And I think Jacobs can be that because the Packers reinforced the interior of the offensive line. They signed Banks. They drafted Belton. They had drafted Jordan Morgan a year ago. If he doesn't win the left tackle job, he'll probably win the right guard job. They moved Elton Jenkins from left guard to center. So I think replacing Josh Myers with that combination, I think it will be a better interior of the offensive line for the Packers, and that will make Josh Jacobs a more efficient player. And probably if Love is fully healthy, I think that will open up some lanes. Teams tend to play a lighter box against the Packers if Love is healthy, so I think that will help Josh Jacobs too. I think he's been an excellent running back and everything the Packers could hope for when they signed him to that 4-year deal. And I think he's an amazing player. He has that track record of being a Pro Bowl player, and I think he can be that again for the Packers. Still young. Running back is a tough position, right? Because when a guy is 27, it's kind of already getting older. So, but I think Josh Jacobs has a lot of left in the tank yet.
And he's got a second-year player right behind him. So Packers seem to be good at that running back position for quite a bit. Mikey, before we move on to receiver, I just wanted to ask, other than your boy from Rutgers, is there anyone else in that backfield you think might step up as a B to the A, as they say? What do you think?
I will say that Roschon Johnson is supposed to be that guy, but I feel like he's the Packers version of A.J. Dillon, where everybody likes him, everybody wants to see him succeed. But where's he at? What's he doing? I don't know. Also, though, last year, terrible coach. I mean, we had Roschon Johnson at the 1-yard line, and they pulled him out for Kramer, some fat fuck offensive lineman that fumbled the ball at the 1-yard line. So who knows? Who knows?
Fred was on. He's always got a big take on some coach. I know he was on the Bears coach a lot last year. Jacob says Packers fans are shaking in their cheese heads right now because of the Bears. All right, let's go to receiver, Mikey. Let's talk about this receiving core. Obviously, opposite Keenan Allen, but you do have DJ Moore, who finished 22nd last year. Romeo Odunze, which finished 51st. And you got a new guy, you got Luther Burden, the third, up as well. So what do you think? What do you think of these guys? Do you think they're gonna, well, except for Luther, do you think those Romeo and DJ perform better than last season, a little worse, or about the same?
All right, so let me start off with Rome Odunze. I think Rome Odunze is going to take a huge step. I think that with the players that you have right now, not just the wide receivers, but even the tight ends and the running back, you have that they're pass happy. So it's going to open up the field a lot. It's going to spread it out, and you're going to have people not knowing who's going to catch the ball. So I do think that Rome Odunze is going to be our deep ball guy and our main guy. I don't know about Luther. He has some speed, and he could also pop off too. DJ Moore, he might take a step back. It looks like he's got all this. Every time I see DJ Moore, and I like him, nice guy, but when he's on the field, he has this body language that, and I don't want to be a body language guy too, because I have bad body language and I'm mad too. So I don't want to be like that. But also, don't be a bitch on the field. Just like, I don't know. And you have to learn how to work with a quarterback that's like Caleb, a little zesty, a little sassy. Like, you got to let him just do his way if he's going to be there. So what I would say to that is I think DJ Moore is going to take a step back, but the young guns are going to finally start showing out. And I could say that I'm comfortable with that because I don't think DJ Moore is our future because he's older. And I think the young guys are our future more. So that's what I'll say about the receivers.
I can see a world where DJ Moore is going to step up this season, knowing all the hates out there. And, we've all saw the clip of him last year, basically walking off the field, it looked like. So, I think he's got a little something to prove this year. I know my son will like that. We were at the Scott Fishbowl live draft last year, and I took him with me. And, it was about the first round or not the first one, whatever round it was, he kept telling me, go DJ Moore. I was like, nah. And then I guess 2 rounds later, he's still there. And I was like, all right, who do we go? And my son stands up, like literally he goes, give me more.
I love that, dude.
I was like, bro, all right, remember this shit right here. All right. So anyway, I know my sons will be excited. DJ Moore steps up a little this year. All right, Mr. Wendell. Jaden Reed, Matthew Golden, Romeo Doubs, and we got Christian Watson, of course, in that mix, but that'll be a little bit later on. So we'll kind of just discount him for right now because it's going to be hard for him to surpass anything he did last year. But Jayden Reed finished 21st last year. Matthew Golden obviously finished with college, and Romeo Doubs finished 57th last year. So what do you think as far as these receivers' productivity? Are they going to be about the same, worse, or better?
Yeah, I think it's so hard to project because the Packers have 4 targets, and then we'll talk about the tight ends later, but you add Tucker Kraft and Luke Musgrave to the mix. You add Josh Jacobs, and the volume that the Packers had in the run game is so hard to project. I honestly, I wouldn't touch probably the Packers receivers in terms of fantasy because I think it's great for in real life to have that many receivers, especially for a creative offensive play caller like Matt LaFleur is. He can, in any given game, he can adjust the game plan and throw to a specific guy, but it's hard on a week-to-week basis to project who will be the top guy. I expect, honestly, Matthew Golden to have an immediate impact because the Packers drafted him with that purpose, even though they might not say that right now because they have to respect the other guys. I think the Packers are trying to create a domino effect. They like Matthew Golden will be our top receiver, and then Jayden Reed can be just the slot guy and not the top target. Romeo Doubs can be that performative X receiver that he's better at. And Christian Watson, whenever he gets back, he can be that deep threat. So I think that the Packers are trying to establish a better hierarchy of the receivers. So I think that's what they're trying to do. So I would expect Golden to be a productive receiver from the get-go. I don't know if sometimes rookies are hard to project always, but I think he has that potential. And if you compare him to other rookie receivers like Burton, for example, I think is more of a developmental guy. I think Golden is more pro-ready to start right away and have a relatively productive season. So I think it makes sense for the Packers to take that type of guy to the role the Packers need right now.
LeDuc, my apologies. I'll get to you in a second. Justin, what do you think as far as the receivers go? Current ADPs right now got Jayden Reed 21st, Matthew Golden 57th, and Romeo Doubs 60. What do you think of those ADPs? Are they above, below, or average? What do you think?
Yeah, I want no part of the Packers receiving corps. The only person I want is Tucker Kraft. And that's just because the simple fact of what I said before. I actually think Josh Jacobs is the best player you can get from the Packers, to be honest with you. Because last year, he was actually used better as a receiver than he had been used before. He broke 13 tackles. He averaged 11 yards per catch, and he had his first fucking touchdown ever as a receiver. But yeah, if you're asking me about the receivers for Green Bay, I find myself even passing on Jayden Reed right now. I think Matthew Golden has some opportunity there, especially with Jordan Love wanting to stretch the field. But until I see it, I just don't think I can believe it with that guy. And then obviously with the Bears, I don't know if you want to hear about Bears take, but
I was going to go
take is DJ Moore had 140 targets. Respect that man's motherfucking game. And I don't care what you say about body language. That man was on a sinking ship from day one last year.
Yeah.
Of course that man was pissed off.
Yeah.
He was ready to throw the coach overboard. That's how bad it was with him. And they were just trying to get him in any situation to touch the ball. You don't have a guy like that and just go the next year like, oh yeah, not gonna use you.
Yeah.
100%. Don't worry, Duke. I'll get you for the tight end. Sorry about that. So yeah, just my quick thought on the Packers. I feel like looking at these ADPs and stuff, I feel like Matthew Golden could be one of those late round awesome gets that you get. You know what I mean? If you see him later on and you're looking for that third, fourth receiver, I definitely would take a stab, especially later in rounds, because he is a big play guy. That's what we like in fantasy. So that would be somebody I'd be looking to grab. I do agree with you guys that it is hard to tell who amongst this group is going to step up. But Jayden Reed, I think, proved a lot last season. He's a big playmaker as well. So, I mean, I'm not going to be sad if I got Jayden Reed on my team either. All right, let's go to the tight end position. All right, so here's the big question of the night, right? So, Mikey, you got Cole Kmet. Last year, he finished 18th overall. Not too shabby with all the tight ends. And you got Colston Loveland, obviously, who hasn't just drafted and hasn't played. So what do you think? Who's going to be the guy to step up? And do you think, who's going to outperform who, I guess, in this one?
You know what? I'll say this. I'm glad that I didn't do last year's show because I would have gotten every single pick that I would, I used to give out the picks and I would do pretty solid, right? I would have done terrible because I took over 24.5 yards every motherfucking week for Cole Kmet. And I think it only hit twice. It only hit like 2 times, 3 times. It was insane. I was like, no. This week I'll bet the under. I was like, well, but it's 24.5 yards. So I'm going to say Loveland. I'm going to say Loveland out of spite because Kmet pissed me the fuck off last year. He lost me so much money that I'm going to openly root for Loveland, and let's hope that he's our number 1 guy consistently. The reality is, though, Ben Johnson likes his 2 tight end package, so let's see if we can get the 2 tight ends out on there, and whoever catches the ball, and hopefully the overs hit this year instead. So that's where I look at it. Yeah.
Leduc, current ADP's got Kmet at 26, Loveland at 16. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm fine with those ADPs with the uncertainty around here. What also makes me nervous about Kmet is that, like you said, Mike, I do like the 2 tight end sets that we're going to probably see it because availability is the best ability. We all know that. He's going to be on the field. That's great. But if they're going to choose to prove me wrong and make DeAndre Swift very viable in fantasy this year, if that's going to happen, they need to run him more outside. That means Kmet's going to be moving probably a lot more around the edges as a blocker, leading the way, stuff like that, where it's going to take him out of route running and into more of a very functional aspect of this offense. But I'm worried that Loveland's going to become that main pass catcher, but because of the uncertainty that with the chemistry, obviously we see chemistry is important when it comes to Caleb Williams. There's a lot of uncertainty there that I think there's a better value elsewhere at tight end position.
I will also say we are sleeping on a Bears tight end named Durham Smythe.
Yes,
one of the greatest greater blocking tight ends in the league right now. So hopefully, when you see him in there, we're running with DeAndre Swift. That'll help a lot.
I brought this comment up earlier, but you guys were talking, so I didn't say anything about it, but it's kind of perfect for right now. Jacob said, we only wish for Gronk and Hernandez come up. And then Alex Flores says, he says, great point. Hernandez was a beast on and off the field.
I will say, if one of them have to be Hernandez, I hope it's Kmet. All right, let's just say that.
Heard that. Ben Johnson, I trust, baby, says Alex.
Absolutely. Shout out.
All right, Wendell, let's go. Your tight end position is a little more clear. We got a clear front runner with Tucker Kraft, finished last year at 7th. His current ADP right now is number 9. What do you think? Is he perform about that or better or worse?
I'm going to say that I'm not a homer in fantasy football, and Tucker Kraft is on my team because I love him. I think he's a great player. And he's the type of player, and I think that's the main difference between him and Musgrave. It's because Kraft is the type of player that LaFleur will love. He can not love a guy like that because he's a willing blocker and a good blocker. I'm not saying he's George Kittle, but his style of play reminds me of early career George Kittle because he can block. He gets a lot of yards after the catch. He's a great receiver. He's good running routes. He breaks tackles. So, I think Tucker Kraft I think he has the potential to be a top 5 tight end in the entire NFL. I think he's an amazing young player. I would say the Packers will probably try to re-sign him to give him an extension next offseason because now it's his 3rd season. He'll be extension eligible next offseason. So I think, Kraft is probably, I would say, you guys said Josh Jacobs. I think Tucker Kraft is actually the better, the best backer for fantasy purposes. And I think he's one of the best weapons for Jordan Love this season. He's so reliable. The Packers had so many problems with drops last year because the receivers were dropping all the time. Kraft is the opposite of that. He's super reliable and super effective at the same time. So I think Kraft is a great value. And especially for salary cap leagues, because he's also cheap right now. So I think it makes a lot of sense to bet on Kraft having a big role for the Packers. But I'll also say this, Musgrave spent a lot of time on injured reserve last season, and now I don't think he'll take too many snaps of Kraft, but I think the Packers have shown during the offseason program that they will run more two tight end sets. I think it's hard to project because last season they run 5% of the offensive plays with 12 personnel, and I think this year maybe to go to 8-10%. So I think Musgrave can be a bigger part of the offense than he was last year. And he's a fine receiver, not as good of a blocker as Kraft is, but he's a good receiver, especially with Watson out. I think Musgrave can replace kind of that production deep down the field, because that was what Musgrave was as a rookie. That deep threat, they can stretch through the middle of the field, those seam routes with Love, and I think they had a good connection there. So I think it makes sense to maybe Kraft will be the starter, the main tight end, but I think Musgrave can have an offensive role to a decent degree.
Or I know a certain AFC East team who's in need of a tight end. So I'm just saying, I mean, it
wouldn't be cheap, I think. I think it's not impossible, but I think it wouldn't be so cheap.
Yeah, definitely not. All right, Leduc, what do you think? Are you okay over there? What do you think about Tucker Kraft and all his good stuff? Did I already ask you that?
No, you didn't. But sorry, between my work computer taking off and the TikTok chat, sorry, I was a little preoccupied there. No, you asked me about the Bears though.
Yeah. So what do you think about Tucker Kraft? He's
so
right
Tucker
now. Go ahead.
Okay, I'll say Tucker Kraft. I always liked as a receiver. I mean, there's no denying what he is. We've seen this in the past with Packers tight ends though, with that one kind of really flash season. Then they kind of cycle through what they're doing with their offense, and they get one season of healthy receivers, and it's going to kind of spell some downfall for Kraft. But I like Kraft in the tight end landscape because I think there's still a lot of unknowns in this wide receiver room. And Tucker Kraft is going to be an established safety net, I think, for Love, at least for the first half of the season, unless we see Matthew Golden step up and some of these guys stay healthy, then he might fade. But at least to start the season, Tucker Kraft should easily hit your value.
Yeah. He's not that flashy name that, calls out at you as while you're doing the draft, but certainly could be a guy as you fill your roster up and you're in need of a tight end. If he's on the board, that's definitely a good guy to grab. Faux show. All right, before we get to the fun, we got one more percent to the bench brought to you by the Injured List podcast, and he's talking about the Bears. Let's check it out.
What's up, everybody? Brian Scott of the Injured List podcast here once again for your percent to bench, starting out with the Chicago Bears. First up, Colston Loveland, tight end. He underwent shoulder surgery January 2025 to repair a torn labrum and reconstruct his AC joint. He's in 3 months now into his 6-month recovery plan and progressing well. He's had some reports showing a full range of motion. He's been catching passes, doing some non-contact running. He was seen in uniform at practice, and the team's holding off at contact drills, which is expected. But they do expect him to be ready for training camp in July with the chance to participate fully at that time. And sounds like he's on track. So we're going to give him a 20% score to the bench. AC joints injury and subsequent surgery is not guaranteed, folks. Those could be easily re-injured and have a high failure rate, as we've talked about in years past. Moving along, we got Luther Burden III. He's a wide receiver. He missed voluntary OTAs and minicamp due to an undisclosed soft tissue injury. As of mid-June, he was still sidelined, and there's been no official return date, but the aim apparently is to have him back in late July. That would be about 10 to 11 weeks worth of rehab for whatever this soft tissue injury is, even though they haven't said. Coach Ben Johnson emphasized that missing the reps is concerning for his development, but he remains confident that he'll make a full recovery. And the timeline suggests that he should be cleared in time to participate in training camp and preseason. We're giving him a 20% score to the bench, just mostly due to the lack of clarity regarding the exact injury here. And then DJ Moore, he actually popped up in a list, not because of his high percentage to the bench score, but because of the low percent to the bench score, which is 0. In 7 seasons, he's only missed 2 games. He is the epitome of durability, and it is very rare for anyone to end up in the percent to bench segment and receive a score of 0. But DJ Moore, congratulations. You are the first to do so. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the Chicago Bears percent to bench. We'll see you later for more percent to bench.
The epitome of durability. I love it. Absolutely. All right, let's get started. So the I guess theme of the summer tour was to do rivalries, and this is one of the oldest rivalries in all of sports. So get your rivalry hats on because you guys are going to go mano a mano. All right, we're going to do the fantasy quiz show, and I'll just explain the rules. I'm going to ask a question. You guys will shout out the first answer. Whoever gets one in first and it's correct, you will get control of the round. There'll be 5 answers. If you get all 5 correct, you'll take the round. But if you get 3 strikes, the other guy will get a chance to win it. So it's a best out of 5. Let's do it. It's time for the fantasy quiz show.
There seems to be no sign of intelligence.
It's the fantasy quiz show.
Justin Jefferson.
Justin Jefferson. It's gonna be a long game. Shout out to Brad at the Unbearable Sports for leaving us that clip. That was always great. All right, let's get it on. It's the fantasy quiz show, and we got a doozy tonight. There's some interesting stats that I found while I was doing this, but I'm going to give you guys both a layup to start with just to get us warmed up. Here we go. Top 5 answers on the board. I am looking for, and again, it's between just the Bears and the Packers, who has thrown the most passing yards in team history?
Brett Favre.
Brett Favre. That is correct. That was number 1 on the list, 61,655. All right, Wendell, you got the round. Let's see what else you got. Got another one, Wendell?
I would think it's Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers. That's number 2 on the list, 59,055 yards. All right. You got 3 answers still out there. Got no strikes. What else you got, Wendell?
Michkowski.
Michkowski. Not correct. All right, but you still got 2 strikes remaining, still 3 answers. Who else you got?
I'm trying Bart Starr, bro.
Bart Starr. 3rd on the list, 24,718. All right, 1 strike, 2 answers left.
Now it gets hard, right? So I think it's probably. So I can't go Michkowski again, or maybe I can.
If you want to be wrong again, sure.
Yeah, that's getting harder now. I don't know. Let me think here.
Don't think on Google.
Yeah, no. I'm truly trying to think here.
Hey, Alexa.
I would say Jordan Love, but I think it's not him at this point.
That your answer?
Yeah.
Jordan Love. Not on the list. So that's 2 strikes. You only got 1 strike left, 2 answers remaining.
Jay Cutler?
Jay Cutler.
That is correct.
That is correct. He is number 4 on this list. I know Mikey was like, damn, I was like waiting to salivating to get that one. He's number 4, 23,443. All right, you got 1 strike 1 strike left and 1 answer remaining. Can you snag the whole round?
Yeah, let me think here. Sid Luckman, maybe.
Sid Luckman.
Hello? You play to win the game.
Okay, well, speaking of playing to win the game, Mikey, you got 1 chance to steal it. There's only 1 answer there, my friend. So tell me what you got.
It's going to be a Packer because I know that Sid Luckman is like the second most. So I'm going to default. I have no answer for this one. Let me think here. You got to go like the 60s. We named every single quarterback because they don't have any quarterbacks. They have like 4 quarterbacks in the last 40 years. Let's just say Jacob Boyko because I don't have a name, and that's.
Now, if you want to crown them, then crown their ass.
Yeah, all right. Just go ahead, Mr. Wendell. You got this first round. The answer, the last remaining, is Lynn Dickey.
Lynn Dickey, yeah, exactly. I was going to say him, yeah.
Yards. Oh, my goodness. All right. Let's go with, so Wendell's got one of these. Let's go with our next question. Again, top 5 answers on the board. And again, between both teams, I'm looking for the player that has the most receiving yards.
Donald Driver.
I heard, what do you, Judge, you got to come in because I heard 2 answers and I don't know who was first and couldn't really hear who was right. Come on, Judge, where you at?
I heard Wendell say Driver.
Yeah. All right. I know Mikey said something. Sorry, Mikey. I couldn't make it out.
Brandon Marshall.
Oh, okay. Well, you were wrong.
Yeah. Figures.
That is correct.
Donald Driver is correct. He's number 1 on this list, 10,137 yards. Okay, Wendell, you got control again. Give me what else you got.
I think I have Sterling Sharp for the Packers.
Sterling Sharp. Miss him as an announcer. He's number 3 on the list, 8,134.
I think I'm going with some older guys here. Maybe James Lofton. I think
James Lofton. That is correct. Again, he's number 2 on this list, 9,656. All right, only 2 answers remaining. No strikes. What else you got?
Don Hudson, probably the greatest receiver. Most underrated receiver in NFL history.
That is correct.
I can't believe he snagged that one. That was 5th on the list, 7,991. Wow.
I'm between Devontae and Jordy because I'm not sure who has more yards, but I think I'm going with Devontae probably.
Devonta Adams for the. Wow.
Is Devontae over Jordy? Yeah.
Not one wrong. But yeah, that's funny. I wanted to bring that up. Actually, this is the whole reason I had this stat on here. So, do you know out this whole list? So we could go down all the way to finally a Bear hits this list at 15, and it's Johnny Morris who played from 58 to 67.
Jesus
wow,
Christ.
That's
Bears
crazy.
Bears need to find themselves a receiver for their lifetime. Something. Jeez, oh, please. Okay, Wendell, you're up 2-0 right now. All right, we're going to go with the third question. Mikey, you got to get one or it's lights out, as they say.
I always lose this. All
right, so let's go in all-time history. I'm looking for the player who has the most rushing yards.
Walter Payton.
Walter Payton.
Let's go.
Mikey is correct. Number 1 on this list, 16,726. All right, Mikey, who else you got?
Matt Forte.
Matt Forte. Also on this list, number 2, 8,602 all time. All right, so you got 2 right, no strikes. What else you got?
Gale Sayers.
Gale Sayers.
Fuck, dude.
I know, not on this list. My goodness. All right, what else you got?
Neil Anderson.
Neil Anderson.
That is correct.
Okay, I think I'm out.
He's number 5 on this list, 6,166. All right, there's 2 answers remaining. You only have 1 strike. Have some faith. Let's see what else you got.
Aaron Jones.
Aaron Jones. Oh, he's wrong on that one. All right, so let's add. Is that 2 strikes? You only have. You got 2. You still got 2 answers. So, all right, what else you got?
I don't know Packers like that, man. Do I go 80s or 70s?
No help from the
Jim
peanut.
Taylor. I would have thought these last 2 were both Packers. I was there.
Jim Taylor. Judge. Judge is taking a nap back there. Jim Taylor is on this list, 8,207 yards. So you're only missing number 3, and you got only 1 strike left.
3?
So what?
Easy one.
What did you say?
This is an easy one, I think. It's for the Packers, but
he's your best Packer of all time for running back.
Yeah.
Who did you say? I'm sorry, I missed who.
Ahman Green.
Ahman Green. And Mikey was down himself, setting the expectations low, and then he comes in and
gotta win something.
Come back. Love it. All right, it's 2-1 Wendell. Can Mikey bring this to the final round? We will see right now. This is, again, all-time history between both your squads. I'm looking for the players who have scored the most touchdowns.
Brett Favre.
Brett Favre.
Is that passing touchdowns or
scored them? So yeah, it would not be passing.
Okay, got it.
Go ahead, Mikey, you're up.
Walter Payton.
Walter Payton.
All right, we'll take that.
Correct. He is number 1 on this list with 125.
Fuck, dude. Is Davante Adams on there? Davante Adams?
Davante Adams. That is correct. He's number 4 on this list with 73.
Aaron Jones?
Aaron Jones did not make the cut here. Not on this list. All right, you got 1 strike and 3 answers left.
I don't know. I have no idea, man.
Come on.
I know. Hold on. Let me get the wheels going here. Gale Sayers.
Gale Sayers.
I'm done.
How he hasn't? When you said his name, I'm like, how does he not on either of these lists? I didn't even look to see why he wasn't. He must have been at least close anyway, but not on this list, my friend. All right, so.
Oh, am I out?
No, you got 1 strike left.
I'm gonna throw it back with Ahman Green.
Ahman Green. Not on this list. That's leaving a lot of meat on this bone for Mr. Wendell to take this game. All right, so you got 3 answers on the board. Just need 1 of them. Can you give me, again, the question is most scored touchdowns and team.
Yeah. I'm going with Don Hudson again. I think he scored a lot of touchdowns.
And why not? He is the one who has scored the most in Packers history. Don Hudson, number 2 on this list, 105. Jim Taylor was next with 91. You said Davante Adams. And then the last and number 5, Neil Anderson, 71 TDs. Take that Bears fan card and put it in my pocket for right now. Mr. Wendell, congratulations, my friend. You are tonight's winner.
The Packers beating the Bears again.
Hey, we're 1-0. 1-0 in 2025, buddy. We're 1-0.
Mikey knows the drill on this show. He knows when you lose. We got a little something for you. So tonight, Mikey, it's all for you.
Play clock at 5. Pass is intercepted at the goal line by Malcolm Butler.
Dumbass. Thank these. They call me dumbass. Black guy need a stupid.
Indeed. Mikey. All right. Well, thank you guys so much. It was a pleasure to have you guys on tonight. We had a really good time. Always appreciate you being here. Wendell, we'll go to you first, my friend. Let everyone know where they can follow, subscribe, and get all your great content.
Yeah, awesome, man. I appreciate your invite for me to be here. I cover the Packers and the AFC East for A to Z Sports, so you can obviously check all of that out there. And also can follow me on Twitter, as you can see there, at WendellFB.
Go get all of Wendell's great content, great guests, and appreciate you. Good luck to you Packers this year. And the real Mikey Betts, not the fake one. Let us know where we can follow, subscribe, and get all your great content, my friend.
Okay, so you could follow me on X, Instagram, and TikTok at Real Mikey Betts. That's where I post all my content. I will be posting all my content a lot more now that the offseason is ramping up and the Bear season is coming. So just stay tuned. You'll see a lot of me. And then quick shameless plug, shout out. Make sure you guys tune into Frank Walks, Barstool Sports. I'm the producer. We're going to have a lot of good walks. I'm going to do a spoiler here, walk with Brian Urlacher by the end of the month. So that'll be very fun. Very excited. So tune in and let's get nasty. Yeah. Appreciate it. Appreciate the follows.
Justin per Brian Urlacher is like, her?
I might do a FaceTime with you, Justin. When I meet him, we just might do a little FaceTime and see what he does. I gotta ask him, how do I get this all fixed, dude? I'm going bald ASAP. So hopefully,
bro, don't just do that to me because we're on live right now with the 2 people watching. Don't just do that to me. If you're gonna do that,
there's 6. All right, don't talk shit about the chat right now.
hey, I love the chat. I love the chat. I'm just being real here. If Brian Urlacher's coming on, FaceTiming your boy over here.
FaceTime. I promise you, I'll shoot you a FaceTime. You got Scout's honor. I think that's what we'll do, right? Something like that.
Yeah. Okay. What's up, dude? All right, man. Well, we appreciate you guys again. Again, good luck to your teams this season. Everyone go follow, subscribe, get all their great content. Check us out on Friday. Stick and stay here. We'll be covering the Lions and the Vikings. So 2 teams I'm sure you guys are in love with. All right, guys. Well, we appreciate you. Good luck. And again, from us to you, we are out.